time to fuel your business success. Welcome to Harmonious at Lunch. We're bringing you bite-sized advice and expert conversations to drive clarity and growth 5 days a week. Make sure you join our Facebook group at humanopt.com/lunch, where listeners like you and our guests hang out so we can find harmony in business together. If you're building a business, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Is it possible to build a successful 7+ figure business and, emphasis on the and, have a life? I don't know. I have no idea. Go look at social media. I don't think it's possible because a whole lot of people seem to disagree that those two things can exist simultaneously. Our guest today is going to prove that wrong. We're going to answer that question and see how you can do it in your business. Carmen Williams, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brandon.
This is exciting. This is a cool topic. I have built 7-figure businesses before. I won't say if I had a life or not, but I know the two, all jokes aside, I know the two can coexist. I've had it both ways. I've had it where I've had a life, where I haven't had a life. And it really depends on how you set it up to scale. But I think this is a topic that so many business owners, when they're scaling their businesses, they kind of pick either or. Is that your assessment of how people view this topic?
Yeah, I think that in society there's status about being busy. So someone got in contact with me the other day. I haven't spoken to him for a while, and he's like, "Have you been busy?" And I like, how do I say, well, yes and no? Like, yesterday I went for my monthly massage and I did a little bit of strategy and I took no meetings and I, watch YouTube with my kids. Like, how like, that's a no.
It's a great way to lose friends real quick.
Yeah. It's like, I've dropped the status of being busy. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I call myself an interval trainer in business and life. So I can go hard, head down, bum up, like go really hard in business. And then I can also pull back as well. So I think that's a really interesting idea.
Can I just highlight? So Carmen's from Australia, for those of you who haven't gathered that yet. In the States, we just say head down, pedal to the metal. You guys, you add the bum up.
I know. We add a bit of spice to it.
I have never heard that before. That's phenomenal. Head down, bum up. That's my new favorite phrase. Thank you for that little gem on this episode. Anyway, back to business here. Okay, so I agree with you. I think it's very hard to get out of that sort of busy culture because you're right. I mean, people say, "What have you been up to? Have you been busy lately?" And they don't want to hear that. No, I cut my lawn yesterday and that was kind of it. Like, that's not fun. I've been
thinking about my next strategic move in business, but haven't like really taken any action yet. And
yeah, exactly. It's not a really good way to keep a conversation going, for sure. So how did you get started on this journey? Because I assume you kind of fell into that busy trap at one point, but give me a sense of your journey.
Yeah. So I was working in strategic planning in healthcare, and one day I just walked into my job and decided to quit. Like, I called my boss up. She was on leave that day, the poor woman. And I said to her, just letting you know, I've decided I'm going to quit. I could do my 2 weeks notice if you want, but I've got everything organized already. And anyway, long story short, I negotiated to leave at lunchtime that day. So I was walking out of work at this place I worked for 10 years, and everyone's like, "I didn't know you were leaving." And I'm like, "I didn't know either." Anyway, so I then started a business. I knew nothing about business. I didn't know the difference between marketing and sales. I thought clients were just going to come to me, which is obviously hilarious because we know how much effort it takes to market yourself. And then I decided to market myself using LinkedIn marketing, and I did it for myself for about a week or two, and then I decided, I need someone to help me. So I hired an amazing virtual assistant in the Philippines. Her name's Noe, and she helped me market myself, sending messages, sending connection requests, building my profile, editing my content, posting it so that I could have more conversations. And so that's where my virtual assistant journey started. And then I I tell all my clients, you need to be careful because good virtual assistant support is addictive and you're going to come back to me in 3 months wanting more. And so the same thing happened to me. So I just grew my own virtual assistant team so that I obviously starting a business, you're busy, but you're doing the stuff that you need to be doing while getting support in the background.
Which I think is honestly the hardest part for people. I'm going to say starting out, even through scaling past 7 figures, there's this tipping point that I found. I call it the 7-figure sticking point, where you can kind of get away with doing a lot of different things up until that point. But if you really want to grow past it, you have to start getting everything off your plate that's not uniquely yours to do. I'm curious how that was for you in the beginning. I mean, it sounds like you decided after a week, like, no, LinkedIn's not for me. But most people can decide that really quickly and don't act on it. What was it like to get the VA up to speed and train her? I mean, did you have a strategy on LinkedIn? Because it's one thing to hire, it's another thing to actually hire effectively and put a strategy in place.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because so many people hire and it doesn't work and then they blame the virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's the business owner. So one of the things that I really advocate for is almost everything I do myself for a very small period of time. When I say very small, but just enough to go, okay, how do I want to do this? For example, what is my criteria for sending a connection request? How do I do it? Like, what's the workflow? And I get my head and hands really deep in it. And then I go, all right, cool. Now I'm clear. Let me show someone else. And so when I get someone else on board, I don't show them the whole process. I show them 1 or 2 small things, often via video. We jump on a Zoom, they record it, and then they do the 1 or 2 things. And then they come back in the next day or 2, and then I teach them the next 1 or 2 things. So I call it the layering effect. So I start slow and small, but I start with like the 20% that's going to have the 80% impact, and then I build it up from there. So most of my team have been with me for 6 years now. And so now I can give them, now they read my mind and they do things I don't even know I want yet. But at the start, it was small bite-sized chunks.
Which is really hiring 101. Because that same story could be applied to a full-time or a part-time employee in the States that's on your payroll versus a VA. And that's where I think people get a little bit lost with the hiring and onboarding, because let's take full-time employee. You give them everything, whether you have SOPs or an operating manual or an employee handbook. It's like, okay, welcome to the party. Happy Monday. Here's everything you're expected to know. Now go start by lunch.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, hang on. How do you unlock the front door? Like, how did I even get here? Can we start with the baby steps? So what you're saying is so applicable to even larger companies who are onboarding people. The first 2 to 4 weeks of having someone on your team will determine how long they stay with you. And it sounds like you've done a phenomenal job of mastering those 2 weeks, because your whole team's been there for 6 years, or at least a majority of them. I want to hear kind of what that structure looks like, because virtual versus, I guess, stateside or in person, whatever, employment, they're different, but there's a ton of overlap. So how do you structure the onboarding?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we think about the onboarding in the scoping of the role. So before we even introduce people to candidates, we talk about what's the role going to include, what are the tasks, how they're going to communicate, how this person is going to think, what are their strengths, which I know is something you're really passionate about as well. And then we go, all right, cool. So this is the sort of person we want to get. What are we going to do with them on day one? How are we going to do it? Who's going to be doing it? How are you going to delegate? What are the tasks? And I redirect people if they choose tasks that are probably not great day one tasks. And so in that process, before we even introduce them to candidates, we've mapped out the game plan. And so how I like to design it depends on the nature of the role, but in the first week or 2, even though they're only doing a small portion of the role, maybe 5 or 10%, my goal is that the business owner is feeling support within 2 weeks. So yeah, we're going to ease the person into it, but you're also going to get results in the first 2 weeks as well. So we do the game plan before they even meet people. And then what we do when someone starts is we go, okay, for the first week, we expect you to have a face-to-face chat with them on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever your platform of choice is. We've already chosen your 1 or 2 things you're going to delegate. And then we facilitate a conversation. We've got what we call a love team. So we have a love team for the business owner and a love team for the virtual assistant. And we facilitate those discussions at least weekly for the first month. So there's a whole heap of support and love. And then we ease back once things are humming. So it's resource intensive for everyone at the start, but you need to put stuff into it and you need to be strategic and you need to build that relationship for it to work in the long term.
So you have to help me understand what a love team is. Is this another Aussie thing? It sounds like something
No.
This is just dating app.
No, this is just a global teams thing. So we've, and it's my business partner's genius. So her biggest value is support. And so our love team, their whole role, we've got 2 of them. One is for the client side and one is for the virtual assistant side. And both the love teams work together. And their whole role is to love the client and love the virtual assistant. So on the client side, you'd probably call it account management. On the virtual assistant side, you'd probably call it HR, but we've got that different focus of love and support and how can we help both sides. And it's really interesting because the virtual assistant and the client love team are talking together every single day to go, okay, how can we help this pair? Or sometimes there's more than 2 people involved, but how can we help this combination of people to help them work together?
That's fascinating. And I think, I don't know that I would call it, or I would recommend that it's HR for a full-time employee. But I love that concept. I think you should have somebody, I wish more companies did, have somebody in the company that's like the mentor for this new hire. I know at larger companies, that is a thing where you have somebody you can go and ask questions to and they kind of train you and walk you around. But smaller companies, if more people implemented that, I mean, your retention would be through the roof for your employees. That's a brilliant idea, Carmen.
Yeah, so often people go to the love team for how do I do this or how do I tell my business owner I'm feeling overwhelmed. So often it's work stuff, but sometimes it is my boyfriend's broken up with me and I just need to have a chat to someone. It's wide ranging, but as you know, humans are complex and there's all different types of support that each person can benefit from.
Yeah, if only there were a way to decode human beings. Okay, no shameless plugs here today. We won't go there. But I love this concept. I really do. And I love what you're doing. Can you give me a sense of your team now? What disciplines, what areas do you have your VAs in, and how has that grown throughout the years as you've grown?
Yeah, so most business owners, the first virtual assistant they need is not what they think they want. So most business owners go, I want someone who's strategic and creative and can come up with ideas. And I'm like, like you. And
you're just burnt out. That's what you just told me.
I'm like, you don't need that person. You've got ideas coming out of your ears. And most business owners don't need that. What they need for their first person is a detail. I call it a detail-orientated doer. Someone who loves consistency, someone who loves just going, all right, cool. Every day I'm going to send 20 connection requests to this type of people. Every day I'm going to check Carmen's email and schedule the meetings in, according to whoever's emailed her. And so that's what most business owners need as their first person in their team. Most business owners I speak to are so bad at that detail and consistency stuff. I know I am. And so sometimes I joke, if my right-hand man is away and I do something for myself, 9 out of 10 times I mess it up. And I'm like, I shouldn't be doing anything for myself. So that's the first person most people need. So you start with your detail-oriented doer, and they can do administration. It might be a little bit of customer service via email. It might be marketing on LinkedIn, some of that stuff. And then people diversify their teams. So over time, I started with Noe, who helped me with consistency and detail at the start on LinkedIn. And now I've got a whiz-bang video editor. Now I've got finance nerds who love that stuff and know it better than me. Now I've got a recruitment team. Now I've got a love team. So you diversify, and then you use your team's strengths, exactly what you advocate for, Brendan. So the person who's managing my entire finance team, she started off sending LinkedIn connection requests for me. And then she said, oh, I really like finance. I'm like, okay. And then eventually she now is managing my whole finance team. My head of recruitment doesn't have a background in recruitment. She was working in the marketing team. And my business partner goes, oh, you're really good at clarifying and getting to the core of what people are sort of not saying, but saying. And then she's like, hey, do you want to try a hand at recruitment? And my recruitment manager's like, I found my forever job now. So you can, your team will develop over time.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of the things that has had the biggest impacts on our clients too, is helping get the people in the roles that they're best suited for, not just the roles you have open, but the companies who are willing to do that and move people from marketing to HR, or a simple assistant task to the head of marketing. Real life story from one of our clients. It's crazy that the people, their potential increases and they really step into that role. They get so much more done and they're happier and they stay for a long period of time. I mean, the benefits and the side effects are endless, and it's really, really good for the business. So I love that you have that same story within your own company. For you though, the answering the question we started the episode with, and have a life part. How is building a team of VAs and, I would say, relentlessly delegating impacted your ability to have a life? It obviously wasn't overnight, but give me a sense of what that looked like and how long it took to really get there.
Yeah. And I think it's a journey. Sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm still doing too much in the business. But what I find is that when business owners get support for myself and other people, they fill it with other stuff, but it's often higher quality stuff. And so whenever I get time to twiddle my thumbs, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just start another business. And then I get busy with that or whatever. So people fill it up, but I've now got the choice to go, next week, I'm going on a week's holiday with my kids. And I've just said, for the functions I still do in the business, which aren't operational, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do podcast interviews now. There's things I can just go, no, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to be online for a week, guys, and they can manage without me. And I think the thing I forgot to mention is it was 2 years ago that I took the next level to having a life, which was from the start, I got team members in the Philippines to help me with marketing and admin and things like that. But 2 years ago, I had this brainwave where I'm like, maybe I can get people to talk to my clients as well and love the clients. And so then I actually got account managers from South Africa. And for me, that was a game changer, because so many business owners go, the team can do the marketing and the admin, but I'm going to keep the clients. We've got so many clients now. I forget the names. Please don't tell them, Brandon. But sometimes I do. Sometimes the team go, oh, so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, tell me that. I get a bit lost. So now I've got amazing account managers from South Africa who are better at loving the clients than me. They're way more patient. They're way better listeners. So, and they remember their names. So,
the bar is so low.
I know. So that was that next level for me. So if while I'm away, if I get an email from a client, because sometimes clients will email me, I know that my South African account managers can call them up, probably do a better job. But even if they just do 80% and then go, all right, cool, well, let's organize for you to meet with Carmen when you get back. So that means that for that week, I don't have to be online at all.
Yeah, a powerful place to be. Let me ask you this question too, and we'll wrap up with this. You're going away for a week. You're completely unplugging. I know you can obviously work anywhere in the world. How long either have you or could you step away and be totally unplugged from your business and you know it's going to hum along just fine?
Yeah. I unplugged for a month. I went and did a medical mission in the Philippines, and then I met my team. So for the last week, so I did meet my team for the last week, but I didn't do any work in that time. So a month was my last experience.
That's amazing. That to me is the benchmark of truly making it is 4 weeks. Your business goes through a full monthly cycle. If it survives that, and it probably grew a little bit without you too, am I right?
It did. I think for me, the one thing that I'm still holding on to mostly is the sales. So like I haven't been able to completely replace myself with someone better than me yet in the sales, but it's something I'm working on.
But do you like it?
I do enjoy sales. My account managers do internal sales now, but new business, I love like asking people questions about their business and how does it work, and or maybe you should consider this. So I do like it, yes. But it is the one thing that's stopping me from going away for 3 months.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think, there's a part of me that always wants to hold on to the things that I love, and that's okay. If it depends on you for success, then that's a little bit of a risky place to be. But if it lights you up, keep doing it. I always say that because I've seen so many people read the business books and go take the course, and it's like, you can't do anything related to day-to-day operations in your business. And then their soul just evaporates. It's like, well, you kind of defeated the whole purpose there. So
yeah,
not exactly the best advice.
Yeah.
But Carmen, this is super cool. I appreciate you coming. Tell me, where can the listeners learn more about you and maybe even working with you to get them set up with a VA?
Yeah, they can check out some free resources at globalteams.com.au. So to support business owners to work out what virtual team members could do, and also how to work with them as well.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. All of the links, Carmen's social media is down in the show notes. So go check all of that stuff out. Get Click Happy down there, and come back for another episode of Harmonious at Lunch tomorrow. I hope to see you here. We're going to help you build a more harmonious business and life. We'll see you tomorrow.
Another episode of Harmonious at Lunch in the books. I hope this episode made you think and you grabbed some actionable ideas to propel your business. Don't forget to like, comment your takeaways, and subscribe wherever you're listening so we can help more entrepreneurs just like you achieve harmony in their